Hello everyone, my name's Cliff and welcome back to my channel. This is Cliff's Dark Gems. Today I'm going to be doing the Edgar Allan Poe Tag. This was created by another bibliophile reads together with Big Hard Books and Classics. So it was a collaborative effort. And I was tagged by Bad is Rad. Enjoy, stay tuned. Okay everyone, so what I would normally have done in a tag like this is give some background information about the author Edgar Allan Poe, but I have made two videos this year on Edgar Allan Poe where I gave a great deal of information about his life, and he led a very sad, tragic life. So what I'll do instead is that I'm going to link those two videos towards the end of this video so you can check them out if you want to. One thing I can say is that he, as I say, led a very sad life, tragically short life, and that his work is most definitely a reflection, or a lot of his work is most definitely a reflection of the life that he led. So yeah, without further ado, let's go on to the tag. Okay, the tag is just the 4 prompts. Prompt number 1, what is your favorite Poe story? Now, there's quite a number that I really enjoy, but let's just count down my top 3. Probably in third position I'd have to say the Telltale Heart. Very dark, very terrifying, and about guilt. Number 2 I would call The Black Cat, which I read at school. It's also a very dark, very grim story. But without a doubt, my number 1 is The Pit and the Pendulum, and that's the book I also discovered while I was at school, a story, and it terrified the absolute hell out of me, and it still does every time I think about it. The Pit and the Pendulum. This dark tale takes place in the time of the Spanish Inquisition, a judicial institution whose purpose was to combat heresy, but is instead infamous for its barbaric torture methods, widespread pain and suffering. The story begins and we find our narrator sentenced to death. He faints and wakes up in a dank, dark cell. He tries to explore his surroundings and yet faints again. Later he discovers a deep pit in the center of the cell, and he could so easily have fallen to his doom. He loses consciousness once again. When he awakens, he is strapped to a wooden frame on his back. Above him is a picture of Father Time holding a razor-edged pendulum, swinging back and forth, and oh so slowly descending. What's worse is the rats. Everywhere, rats. Why do I love this? It is claustrophobic, so intimate and absolutely terrifying. And of course, there are hungry rats. That is my favorite Poe story. Okay, so that's my favorite Poe story. Prompt number 2 says, your favorite Poe poem. And there can only be one here, and that is A Raven. Now, I haven't read a lot of his poetry, to be fair and to be honest, but The Raven is just spectacular, in my opinion. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read just the first 2 stanzas. I was tempted to read the whole thing, but as I said in my last video, I've had a little bit of flu, so my voice is not what it should be, in my opinion. And so, if you like what you hear, then maybe I'll do some more poetry reading at a later stage. I'm also going to just briefly describe my thoughts on the poem. It's most definitely not everything. There's a lot more that can be discussed, but I just thought I'd just give a little spiel after what I read. So enjoy. The Raven. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and and weary, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore. While I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. "Only this and nothing more." Ah, distinctly I remember, it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named Lenore, nameless here forevermore. This poem paints a bleak picture of a man lost in unending grief. He mourns and cannot get over the loss of his loved one, Lenore. The raven is, in my opinion, a personification of this loss and grief. The poem is interesting as the narrator starts confusing fantasy with reality as he sits and talks to the raven with dark thoughts fluttering. He slowly and ultimately sinks into insanity and madness. Nevermore. He will never again regain his love. She is never coming back. He is alone, completely and utterly alone, isolated and unable to escape the sadness that overwhelms him. The raven casts a shadow over his soul that will forever linger. Okay, that brings us to prompt number 3. Now, I don't really have a lot to offer for prompt number 3 or 4, I'm afraid. Prompt number 3 says, do you have an Edgar Allan Poe shirt? Unfortunately, no, I do not. There is a very specialist shop up the road from us where they actually print designs on shirts, whatever you want. Like black t-shirts, it could be metal, it could be Stephen King, it could be anything. The problem is that it is really expensive. I'm not sure, it's about 500 to 700 rand, something ridiculous. And so I just don't go there. And I've had 1 or 2 shirts where the actual print was ruined a little bit after a couple of months. It started fading. So it's just not worth it. It's not worth the money. That's prompt number 3. And prompt number 4, even more embarrassing, is your Poe collection. Now, I'm pretty sure when I was younger I had quite a few other books by Poe, but at the moment it's just this one. And that is The Fall of the House of Usher and Other Writings. If I get hold of any more, if I find other books by him, I will probably buy them. And I'm pretty sure in some of my horror anthologies and some of my horror collections there might be a Poe short story or poem, something in there somewhere. But this is it. Okay everyone, so before we go, let me just tag a few people. I've decided to think carefully about tagging people that I don't know so well. There's 1 or 2 people on here that I haven't watched their channel that much, but I know they love poetry, and I actually intend to watch their channel a little bit more. But I tag the following people. E.D. Lewis Reviews, who I have watched, The Grape Jelly Library, author D.L. Tillery, Paperback Journeys, and Nikki the Librarian, which is a channel I've only recently discovered and very new, actually a really awesome channel. You should check it out. Check out all these awesome channels. Okay, so that's me for today. I hope you enjoyed that. If you enjoy my content, please be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps me out. And give a comment down in the dark spaces below. What is your favorite Poe poem? What is your favorite Poe story? Please let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And in the meantime, take care of yourselves. Keep those pages turning, and cheers.